What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. WBC Lineal and Ring Magazine heavyweight champion Tyson the Gypsy King Fury is hanging up his gloves, apparently. He officially announced his retirement yesterday. He just turned 34 years old. He got on his social media page, thanked everybody that helped him along his career. And the Gypsy King, according to him, is riding off into the sunset. Now, a lot of people saying, man, this man has retired like 2 or 3 times in the last 2 months. We can't take him seriously. I'm going to take him at his word, because today he vacated his Ring Magazine heavyweight title. He let the WBC president, Mauricio Suleiman, know that he was retiring. Now, Suleiman needs to make a decision, as Deontay Wilder has a fight coming up October 15th on Fox pay-per-view against Robert Helenius. Will that be for the vacant WBC belt? That remains to be seen. Now, I think the likely scenario is the winner of Deontay Wilder and Robert Helenius will take on the winner of Andy Ruiz versus King Kong Ortiz, which is going to take place Labor Day weekend. And those winners will meet, and that will be for the vacant WBC heavyweight title. This will buy Tyson Fury a little bit more time to change his mind and maybe decide to defend this WBC title. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But Tyson Fury has had a very, very interesting career, because his career is very top heavy. As you look at his best wins, Vladimir Klitschko, Deontay Wilder, those 2 wins stack up as the 2 best wins of any heavyweight in the last 2 decades. You can rate those 2 wins with Vladimir Klitschko's best 2 wins, Lennox Lewis' best 2 wins. I even say Evander Holyfield or Tyson Fury's, Evander Holyfield or Mike Tyson's best 2 wins. I'm saying it's very, very top heavy. It's comparable. I ain't saying it's better, but it's comparable. Now, when you look at the body of work, he can't compare to Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, or none of those guys when you look at the body of work. But let's look at Mike Tyson's 2 best wins. What was it? Michael Spinks and Razor Ruddock. I would say that's probably his 2 best wins. And Deontay Wilder and Vladimir Klitschko is comparable to those 2 wins. You look at Evander Holyfield's 2 best wins at heavyweight. We talking about heavyweight. We ain't talking about light heavyweight. We talking about heavyweight. His 2 best wins were George Foreman and Mike Tyson. I would say that's his 2 best wins, arguably. You know, George Foreman was on the road. You know, people say, well, that was old George Foreman. He came off a 10-year layout, but he was on quite a streak right there. He had just got through defeating Jerry Cooney, and he had made himself a serious contender. You know, you could probably say maybe Michael Moore. No, I would say Evander Holyfield. I would say Riddick Bowe and Mike Tyson, his 2 best wins. Riddick Bowe and Mike Tyson versus Deontay Wilder and Vladimir Klitschko. Very, very comparable. So many people got a mystique about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is held into a high regard, but when you look at his career in totality, it's very, very good, but it's not nothing up there with the greats of the greats, in my opinion. His resume is nowhere near Muhammad Ali's resume. His resume is nowhere near Joe Frazier's resume. His resume is nowhere near George Foreman's resume. His resume is nowhere near Larry Holmes' resume, to be frank about it. With all that being said, Tyson the Gypsy King Fury has had a marvelous career. Very, very top heavy outside of those 2 wins. He's beaten Derek Chisora twice. You know, he's beaten a lot of nondescript opponents, man. He's beaten, the fight between him and David Haye. I was very, very looking forward to that fight. David Haye pulled out of that fight, and that would have been a good win on his resume, but he didn't get that. But he's beaten a lot of nondescript opponents outside of Deontay Wilder and Vladimir Klitschko. But he's had a very, very, very good career. And I believe that the reason why he's retiring is because of those concussive punches he took in the Deontay Wilder fights. He made a comment about those punches. He said, man, I took a lot of shots, man, and you know, a lot of these people want me to continue, but they ain't gonna have to go through what I'm gonna go through post-boxing career, you know, with my physical well-being. And I took a lot of punishment, man. here recently in the Deontay Wilder fights. Deontay Wilder came out himself and said that he gave Tyson Fury a concussion. He said that after the first fight. The second fight was a more dominant fight by Tyson Fury, but he took some shots from Deontay Wilder, and even in that fight, in the third fight, he got dropped multiple times. So he's taking a lot of shots from one of the hardest punchers in boxing history. And I think it's a smart move for him to hang it up, man, right off into the sunset off of one of his 2 best wins of his whole boxing career. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires with Tyson Fury vacating his belt. Now, a lot of people saying, they're not taking him serious, but I'm going to take him at his word, man. I believe he is sincere about retirement. But will he change his mind after a year? Maybe. Will he change his mind after 2 years? Maybe. That remains to be seen, but I do believe he's sincere in his retirement. And as of right now, I think it makes the heavyweight division very wide open. Very, very wide open. Very, very wide open, man. So I think with Tyson Fury, that he was the clear-cut best heavyweight in the division. I ain't seen anybody that could give him, outside of Deontay Wilder, really a true test. Outside of Deontay Wilder, I ain't seen nobody give him a test. Now, Usyk could have maybe gave him a test. I just think Usyk was too small. I think Usyk would have been able to hang with him as far as competitively wise, but I don't think he never would have been a threat to Tyson Fury because he didn't have the punching power of Deontay Wilder to get Tyson Fury up out of there at any moment. There's no way he was going to be able to outbox Tyson Fury over a 12-round fight. So I didn't give him much of a chance. So I believe that he is a dominant heavyweight in the division. I think he boxed circles around Anthony Joshua. Andy Ruiz is much too little. He's much too small. I think he can keep him at a arm's length. Pot shot him from the outside, jabbing. With his height and reach advantage, he would have made Andy Ruiz's life very miserable over a 12-round fight. And I think he probably would ultimately got Andy Ruiz out of there in the second half of the fight. So I don't think any top heavyweight at this time outside of Deontay Wilder, and he's beaten him 2 out of 3 times, I didn't see anybody out there that really had a real chance of defeating Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But the heavyweight division is wide open right now, very wide open. We got a big heavyweight fight coming up this Saturday, August 20th, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, rematch involving unified heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk taking on former unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. It's going to be a very interesting matchup. Joshua must impose his size advantage, his power advantage on Usyk. He must take it to Alexander Usyk, and he must try to get Usyk out of there in the first half of the fight. The longer this fight goes, the worse off it'll be for Anthony Joshua. As once Alexander Usyk gets his rhythm, it's going to be a long night at the office for Anthony Joshua. I don't see him winning a fight with Usyk if it go 12 rounds. He must stop Usyk to get the victory, in my opinion. And he must stop him inside the first 6 or 7 rounds. As we know, Anthony Joshua does not have a full tank of gas going into any of his fights. He has about a half a tank of gas. As with all that muscle mass he has, he tires out after about 5-6 rounds, actually. And he's not the same fighter he was after that. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Let me know your thoughts about Tyson Fury retiring. Is it real or fake? Let me know your thoughts. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard.Briscoe.3551. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.